Hello there, YouTube friends. Dustin Bellinger here, and gonna do a video response for Near Mint Musings. Had his 100 subscriber contest. Wanted us to tell our PC story. I'm not sure if I'm making this video actually in time. If I'm too late, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to enter me or anything like that. I did want to do the response. I've just been kind of busy and I haven't been able to get to things, so if I'm too late, that's fine. Just let this stand anyway. But so who do I PC? And I've got, a couple of PCs that I kind of wanted to talk about for this. Now, number one PC I do is Hall of Famers, and chief among them is my Roberto Clemente collection. I've been working on his PSA master set. I didn't want to dig a whole lot of stuff out to do this video. I got lots of stuff to get done today and just didn't have time to do a lot of setup prep, so I'm just kind of pulling out what I've got handy. This here's the 1970 Kellogg's card. Just actually one of his most beautiful cards in my opinion. And my PC for Clemente goes back to 1998. 98 Tops, they did kind of a tribute to Clemente. Did reprints of all of his cards. They did, base cards. They did a Topps Finest version of them, and then also Finest refractors that were all available as inserts in the set that year. I bought a lot of 98 Tops that year, and I don't know, it just kind of kindled something with me because I'd been, very familiar with Clemente prior to that, at least to some respect, but it really kind of stirred the imagination and got me more interested in his life. And so, from there, things just kind of went, and from then on, really, he's been kind of my all-time favorite player. So that's the impetus for that. Now, I've got other PCs besides Clemente. I also collect a lot of guys with ties to the state of Nebraska. And while I do collect some football with that, it's baseball's always, the biggest priority for me. And so it's like these two guys right here, Darren Erstad and Alex Gordon, were both, top rated prospects coming out of Nebraska. Erstad was the number 1 overall pick. I believe Gordon was the number 2 overall pick the year he was drafted. So, this is the only autograph I've got of Alex Gordon, and I've got half a dozen or more autographs of Darren Erstad, but both guys that I try and pick up as much stuff of them as I can without just getting ridiculous chasing the really expensive stuff. But to get I've got binder stuff of both of them that's pretty substantial. So, and that's where it starts with them, because I watched both of these guys play at the University of Nebraska. Was in high school when Erstad was playing, and later on here when Alex was coming up. So it's definitely got a connection to them where I've been watching them really their entire careers dating back to college. So that's the impetus there. And then with the Cubs being my favorite team, I've got, pretty decent amounts of stuff of like Sandberg, and I've got stuff of Andre Dawson, but it's mostly stuff just based on the fact that they're Hall of Famers, that, I buy their stuff. As far as getting guys that are, not Hall of Famers, I've always was like really resistant to buying a lot of current players stuff. When I was a kid, I collected a lot of Mark Gray stuff, and he played, almost his entire career with the Cubs, so that, helps out. But like, say, like Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo and some other guys, there have been guys that, I followed, and I thought, oh, I might collect those guys, but I've always just been kind of reluctant to really dive deep in those, like, especially, right now where it looks like there's a good chance Bryant might be traded. It's like, I'm glad I didn't, spend a whole lot, because I just worry that that would change how I feel about that collection if it would happen. And so I don't collect, real deep on active players. One guy that's been kind of an exception for that, recently is I've gotten, a fair amount of Javi Baez stuff. Nothing that's extremely expensive. And this was just something that I started doing. And these are all from 2019. This pose, just different variations of cards that use this pose from Topps. And so, this one was from Oots Potato Chips, a couple of the different Walmart holiday examples. Let me make sure it'll annoy me if I stack these and put them in the wrong order later. So here's the short print. I don't have the super short print. There's like red foil from opening day, and Topps Chrome. I think this is the base. No, this is the base refractor. And there's a prism refractor, the X-fractor, Zippy refractor, the pink refractor, there's purple refractor, rainbow foil, and then this is the purple foil from base Topps. Yeah, so that one, the rainbow foil, was base Topps as well. And so then this is the Walgreens parallel. There's the Topps Sapphire. This was the Topps On Demand 3D. Bought this one off eBay. And this one's the gold. Then this in here is a Topps On Demand Mini, I think. And this one was pink, numbered to 25. See, I only got a couple of them that are numbered. And I've got, a ton of these that I've added. And that's, without, getting deep into the numbered variations and stuff. Because it's like, you can get kind of, it's not, I can't call it a rainbow exactly, but just something that's a little fun to work on. Now, another guy that I collected a fair amount of, is Sammy Sosa. It's like when the Supers Collectors group got started, I thought, yeah, Sosa will be the guy I'll do some stuff with in that group. And I've bought in quite a few cards of his, but nothing too crazy. These are just some artist proof ones that I had handy because they've got them in my things I'm thinking about sending to PSA box. And it's just because I really like these artist proofs from the Pinnacle. You know, you guys have seen me working on the museum collection. So these are the parallels of the parallels and the artist proof. And they are just great looking. So it's like, I don't know. Not the type of stuff I normally would send to PSA, but like definitely considering it just because. So that I've got, you know, kind of a sentimental attachment to Sammy Sosa. You know, being a Cubs fan all my life, you know, you had that great season with the 66 home runs, and you know, it's like talk about the steroids and stuff. It's like I was under no delusions what I was watching when that season was happening. So I don't get upset about it. It's like I knew what was going on in baseball, and I get annoyed at some people that act like they were fooled or something because it's like, how do you have your eyes open and not kind of understand what was going on in the sport at that time? And so I still, you know, I enjoy, you know, collecting his cards. It's like do I think he's a Hall of Famer? You know, probably just, you know, really, it would be really marginal if he was. I mean, because you're basing it almost exclusively on, he did win an MVP award once, and, you know, the home run totals. But you got to compare eras, and it's like setting like this threshold of 500 home runs is like, it's kind of ridiculous because, hey, there's lots of dead ball era guys that didn't come close to that. And it's the same with, you know, the steroid era. It's like you understand what those totals meant in the era, and his numbers were, as you know, offensive production, he was really good, you know, bordering on great for his era. So at least as an offensive player. So, you know, to kind of like try and say, okay, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he not? I mean, there's a case to be made for him, but I, you know, I even as a fan, I don't think it's a slam dunk by any means. Even if you're willing to accept and overlook, you know, the steroid baggage that goes on there. So anyway, this is taking way longer than I should have. But one last PC I wanted to talk about, my Kerry Wood PC. This is a one of the first autograph I ever bought of his, which, you know, just recently got this. And, you know, I was a huge fan of Kerry's when he came up because I followed him even in high school as a guy that, you know, I knew there was a chance the Cubs could draft him. I was really kind of, you know, I was a lot bigger into like the minor league system back then and following all the guys, you know, because you're in high school, you got way more time for stuff like that than you do when you get older, and it's like suddenly just not as important to do that anymore. And being a Cubs fan, of course, at the time, the future was all you had to look forward to. I mean, the present was just, you know, a steaming pile. So, you know, that made it another incentive there, that you were always looking for who were the prospects, who were the players. And, you know, at first and if I had to say, there's a guy that, hey, I'm into super collecting probably more than any other right now, that's a non-Hall of Famer, I would say, yeah, it's Kerry Wood. That's who it is for me. And I've got, this kind of connection to him because I was following him, from the very beginning. And there were other Cubs prospects that I did that with, like Brooks Kieschnick and Corey Patterson and some others that you will not have heard of. And but anyway, Kerry was different because there was also that magical rookie season and that great game on May 6, 1998. And that's significant because that was also my 20th birthday. And on that day, I watched him pitch on WGN, and he struck out 20 Houston Astros, and it was one of the most dominant pitching performances I've ever seen. Even, still to this day, that game is just an amazing memory for me. And so, that just, really cemented everything as to why, Kerry Wood will always have a very special place in my heart. And so there's that. And I'll just kind of run through something that I'd been working with is this year with the 2019 Topps. They had the 84 throwbacks. This was the one that was in the base top set for Kerry Wood. And I've got the base, the blue, which is unnumbered, the black, which is to 299. These with the 150 year stamp, which are numbered to 150. The gold to 50, and this red to 10. And I believe that's all of the parallels that they have in the base top set, except the 101. And the 101 was on eBay. I saw it come up. They wanted like $50 plus shipping is the starting bid on the auction, and I passed on it. Then they relisted it for like $47 plus shipping, and I was gonna pass on it again. I was just waiting for them to, kind of start it out at something that I thought was a little more reasonable. And I didn't catch it, but somebody on the last day did actually bid on it, and so got it for just, over 50, shipped. And it's like, oh, well, I missed out on that. And I don't know, at the time I didn't think I had the money to spend on it right then, so there was other stuff I was buying, and it's like, oh, that's too much money to spend anyway. But, so that's out there. I've got everything else. And then these were in Topps Chrome. They had the silver packs that had these, and, slightly different pose and more parallels. So there's the base, the black, which is to 199, the blues to 150, the greens to 99, the purples to 75, the gold is to 50, the orange is to 25, and this red is to 5. And I was able to get all of these, reasonably cheap. I think, the red I maybe gave $20 for off eBay here recently. Maybe it was 20, might have been a little less than that. I gave like 12 for the orange, I think, something like that. None of these I had to spend, crazy money for at all. The only thing I do not have is the 1/1 Superfractor, and that's on eBay right now. You can go look for it. It's out there. The guy has a list price on it for $900. And man, yeah, that's not happening. I reached out and sent an offer, I started at just $40, because yeah, I'm willing to go higher than that, but I just kind of wanted to see, if what kind of give there was to this, and whether it was going to even be possible. And sometimes, guys will have something that's a crazy price, and they'll still take something that when there's actual money being offered, they'll take that reasonable offer no matter what they've got listed as the price. But he came back and his offer was $500. It's like, well, at that even at that thing, it's like, well, we probably got to move on, because if like 40, $50, it's like that's a lot to pay, for Kerry Wood card, considering, and even a 101. And now if you said, hey, it's like $100, it's like, okay, that's a ridiculous amount to me in some respects. That's too much to be spending on a card of at least of that value, because it's like you're never going to recoup that value if you buy that card. But that's probably a price point where it's like, oh, I would just, I'd bite the bullet. I'd go out there and I know I'm overpaying and I'd try and make that work. But it's like at 500, no, you can't do that. And so it's like, I got to walk away from that one. So these two are probably never going to get completed, but they are, for the most part, complete as rainbows as I'm going to get. Because I'm not chasing the autograph variations on these, because all of these basically have the same parallels in signed versions as well. But no, I'm not doing that, because then you do start getting into crazier money, because it's numbered and autographed, and it's like with these, it's like, hey, I got all of those and never spent more than like $25 on any one card. But with the autos, yeah, you're gonna get into ones where you got to pay like $100 or more for the autos, and it's like, well, they're still signed by the same person. It's just that you've got a different foil number stamped on it. That's just, it gets a little ridiculous for me to really justify spending that. And wow, we have gone way, way too long here. All right, that's it. It's over. Check out Near Mint Musings. If you listen to this for this long, you're incredible, and you have too much time on your hands. All right. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.